A human cadet stood in an empty training room. The instructor's voice echoed, "Improvise a weapon. You have 5 minutes." The alien cadets panicked. They looked around desperately. Empty walls, smooth floors, nothing useful. But the human, they smiled. Within 30 seconds, the human had identified 47 potential weapons. Not 1, not 10, 47. By the time the first alien found a loose floor panel, the human had already demonstrated 12 killing techniques using their belt alone. The instructor was speechless. This wasn't normal. This wasn't even close to normal. But the truth behind this will shock you. See, humans aren't just creative. We're survival machines programmed by millions of years of being prey. We turned that fear into the deadliest skill in the galaxy. Seeing weapons where others see nothing. Here's what you're about to discover. First, why human brains are literally wired different from every other species in the Galactic Academy. Our ancestors survived by turning rocks into tools while aliens evolved with natural armor and claws. Second, the psychological test that proved humans think 4 times faster in life or death scenarios. The test was designed to measure panic. Instead, it measured something terrifying: human efficiency under pressure. Third, how this single training exercise changed military doctrine across 47 star systems. What started as an embarrassing moment for alien instructors became a revelation that rewrote combat training forever. The other species had evolved as predators. Humans, we evolved as prey that refused to die. And that makes all the difference. Every object is a weapon to us. Every environment is an armory. Every limitation is just a puzzle we haven't solved yet. Let me show you exactly how this happened. The Galactic Defense Academy sits on station Kepler 442b. It's where every species sends their best warriors. Humans only joined 3 years ago. Before Earth entered the Galactic Coalition, most species thought we were average. Sure, we had nuclear weapons and space travel. But so did everyone else. Nothing special about naked apes from Sol 3. The Academy teaches universal combat principles: hand-to-hand fighting, weapons proficiency, tactical thinking. Every species learns the same curriculum. Here's the first surprise: humans consistently scored lowest in physical combat. We're weaker than Krovar warriors, slower than then hunters. Our bones break easier than most species' cartilage. But in improvised combat scenarios, humans dominated every single exercise, not by a small margin, by factors that made statisticians question their equipment. Instructor Zarthok had taught combat theory for 43 cycles. He'd trained warriors from 62 different species. He considered himself an expert on violence. Then he met Cadet Maria Santos. The exercise was simple, designed to test creative thinking under pressure. Cadets enter a sterile room. No furniture, no obvious weapons, just 4 walls, a floor, and a ceiling. They have 5 minutes to identify potential weapons. Most species found 3 to 7 items. Top performers found maybe 12. That was considered exceptional. The second surprise: this test had never been failed. Every species found at least 1 weapon. Evolution guaranteed it. Survival instinct demanded it. The third surprise happened when human cadets entered that room. The test's baseline data became instantly obsolete. Humans didn't just find more weapons. They found weapons that shouldn't exist. Zarthok had designed this exercise himself. He thought he knew every possible answer. He'd mapped the room's dimensions, calculated stress points, identified removable components. Humans found things he'd never imagined. They weaponized their clothing, their bodies, even the air itself. Maria Santos entered the test room on training day 47. Standard protocol, observed by instructors and fellow cadets through one-way transparent aluminum. Zarthok activated the timer. Begin. Now here's where things get really interesting. Maria didn't move for 3 seconds. She stood completely still. Her eyes tracked across the room in a pattern that confused monitoring equipment. "What's she doing?" asked Instructor Kathen, a Vrax combat specialist. "She's wasting time." Zarthok watched closer. "No. She's mapping." Maria's eyes stopped moving. She turned to face the observation window, held up both hands, 10 fingers extended. Then she started counting. Belt, garrote, whip, binding, restraint, trip wire. She removed her belt, demonstrated a strangling technique that made the Vrax instructor flinch. Boots, impact weapons, edge strikes, concealment sheaths. She removed one boot, showed how the heel becomes a hammer. Uniform fabric, blindfold, gag, smoke filter when wet, tourniquet. She tore a strip from her sleeve. The monitoring equipment registered this as property damage. Zarthok disabled the alarm. ID card, cutting-edge lockpick, throwing weapon, reflective signaling device. She held up her identification badge, demonstrated a throat strike. 40 seconds had elapsed. She'd identified 12 weapons. That already exceeded the Academy record. She didn't stop. Buttons, projectiles, choking hazards, improvised caltrops when scattered. She twisted a button free, flicked it across the room. It ricocheted off 2 walls with surprising force. Hair-tied tourniquet, tripwire, fire starter with friction. Her hands moved constantly, demonstrating each use. Shoelaces, garrote binding, trigger mechanism, fuse. She pulled a lace free, tied 5 different knots in 8 seconds. The alien cadets watching had gone completely silent. This wasn't normal problem solving. This was something else entirely. Body weight, battering ram, crushing force, momentum weapon. Maria dropped into a shoulder charge stance. The impact calculations appeared on instructor displays. Her technique would generate enough force to crack, then bone plating. Fingers strikes to eyes, throat, pressure points. She demonstrated targeting with precision that made combat instructors uncomfortable. Elbows and knees, close quarters strikes, joint breaks, stunning impacts. Each movement was controlled but obviously practiced. 2 minutes had elapsed. She'd identified 23 weapons. The previous record was 14, set by a Krovar warrior who'd spent 6 years in gladiatorial combat. Maria wasn't a warrior. Her file said she'd been a structural engineer before academy admission. She had 0 military experience. She kept going. Saliva, temporary blindness, DNA marker, improvised lubricant for escapes. Several alien cadets made sounds of disgust. Humans weaponized their own body fluids. Breath, communication, extinguishing flames, creating condensation for grip. Her demonstrations were becoming increasingly creative. Teeth, last resort strikes, severing bindings, intimidation display. This one actually scared the then cadets. Humans bite. The room's environmental systems became her next target. She pointed at air vents, light fixtures and wall seams. Each one had 3 to 5 potential weapon applications. By minute 3, she'd cataloged 39 weapons, and she was still going. But if you think that's crazy, wait until you hear this. Zarthok paused the exercise. Cadet Santos, report to observation deck. Maria stopped mid-demonstration. Sir, I wasn't finished. How many have you identified? 41 discrete items. But that's not counting combinations. If I layer techniques, the number increases significantly. The observation deck went silent. Even the translation software seemed confused. Zarthok's next question changed everything. Show us combinations. Maria nodded. Her expression shifted. Something focused. Almost predatory. Belt plus boot equals flail with maximum reach of 1.4 meters. Lethal against unarmored targets. Disabling against most armor under 6 mm thickness. She didn't have props anymore. She mimed the movements. Somehow that made it worse. Her hands moved with practiced precision through motions designed to kill. Shoelace threaded through belt loops creates a capture net. Effective against opponents up to 1.8 times my body weight. 3-point binding collapses major joints. The mathematics appeared automatically on academy displays. Her calculations were correct. Every single one. ID card wedged in boot creates a push dagger. Penetration depth approximately 4 centimeters. Sufficient for major arteries in 68% of known species. Then Cadet spoke up. This is insane. Where did you learn this? Maria looked genuinely confused. Learn. I just figured it out. Isn't that the point? Here's what the Academy discovered next. They ran cognitive scans on all human cadets. The results were terrifying. Human brains don't process violence like other species. Most aliens have dedicated neural pathways for using their natural weapons: claws, fangs, venom sacs, horns. These pathways are instinctive and specific. Humans, our brains have general problem-solving architecture that applies to everything. We don't have instinctive weapons, so our brains learn to see everything as a potential weapon. Dr. Velm, the Academy's neurological specialist, ran comparison studies. He tested pattern recognition across species. The results shocked the scientific community. When shown random objects, most species categorized them by function: food, tool, decoration, threat. Simple categories based on evolutionary experience. Humans created an average of 6.7 categories per object, and one category appeared for every single item: weapon, a writing stylus. Aliens saw a writing tool. Humans saw a writing tool, stabbing weapon, lockpick and projectile. A drinking container. Aliens saw hydration. Humans saw hydration, bludgeon, cutting edge if broken, noisemaker, liquid projectile launcher. The pattern held across every test. Human brains automatically process weapons potential alongside primary function, not as an afterthought. Simultaneously. Instantly. But here's the disturbing part. This isn't training. It's not military conditioning. It's baseline human cognition. They tested civilians, children, elderly humans with no combat exposure. The results were consistent. Every human automatically assessed weapons potential in their environment. Maria Santos wasn't special among humans. She was average. Every human cadet demonstrated similar capabilities. Some found 40 weapons. Others found 53. One cadet identified 72 potential weapons in the same room. The Galactic Academy realized something that changed their entire understanding of humanity. This brings us to the most shocking discovery of all. Humans weren't creative survivors. We were prey animals with post-traumatic evolution. Dr. Velm's research team dug deeper. They studied Earth's evolutionary history. What they found explained everything. For millions of years, human ancestors were hunted, not occasionally, constantly. Earth had predators with better speed, strength, senses, and natural weapons. Early humans had nothing. No claws, no fangs, no venom, no armor, no camouflage. Just soft, slow, weak bodies that every predator wanted to eat. Most prey species evolved defenses, shells, speed, herd behavior. Humans evolved something different. We evolved paranoia. Our brains developed threat assessment capabilities that border on psychological disorder by galactic standards. We see danger everywhere because for millions of years, danger was everywhere. The research team found something remarkable in human brain architecture. The amygdala, our fear center, connects to problem-solving regions with unusual density. When humans feel threatened, we don't just panic, we calculate. Other species have fight-or-flight responses. Humans have fight, flight, or improvise. That third option changed everything. Ancient humans couldn't outrun lions, couldn't outfight bears, couldn't outclimb leopards. So they grabbed rocks, sticks, bones, fire. Anything available became a weapon. This behavior became genetic, literally. Humans who weaponized their environment survived. Humans who didn't became food. Natural selection programmed improvisation into our DNA. But here's the part that terrified galactic military strategists. This trait doesn't diminish with safety. It intensifies. Modern humans live in the safest civilization Earth ever produced. No predators, no starvation, no tribal warfare. Yet weapon recognition capabilities haven't decreased.
they've increased. Human brains treat peaceful environments as temporary conditions. We're constantly preparing for threats that don't exist. Psychologists call it anxiety. Military specialists call it tactical readiness. The Academy ran war game simulations. Humans versus other species in survival scenarios. The results were classified for 3 months. When equipment failed, most species panicked. They tried to fix technology or call for rescue. Reasonable responses. Humans immediately assessed environmental weapons. They didn't try to fix equipment. They adapted to equipment failure. Within minutes, humans were fashioning tools from surrounding materials. In one simulation, a human cadet crash-landed on a hostile planet. No weapons, no tools, no communication, just survival gear. Other species had attempted this scenario. Average survival time, 4 hours. They either waited for rescue or died trying to signal for help. The human. She survived for 43 days before extraction. When the rescue team arrived, she'd built a fortified camp, created weapons from local materials, established food and water sources, even started mapping regional threats. The rescue commander asked how she survived. Her answer became legendary. "I just used what was there." This wasn't exceptional human performance. This was normal. Every human cadet who attempted the scenario survived over 30 days. The worst human performance exceeded the best non-human result by 6 days. The Galactic Defense Academy faced an uncomfortable conclusion. Humans weren't joining the coalition as average members. They were introducing capabilities that didn't exist in galactic military doctrine. So what does all this mean for us today? The Academy rewrote combat training based on human improvisation techniques. Every species now learns weapons identification protocols, designed by human instructors. But teaching other species to think like humans is nearly impossible. It's not about training. It's about brain architecture, developed over millions of years. Crovar warriors are stronger. They lift 3 times human weight. But strength doesn't matter when a human turns their own uniform into a capture net. Then hunters are faster. They run at speeds humans can't reach. But speed doesn't matter when a human creates tripwires from their shoelaces. Vrax soldiers have natural armor. Human weapons bounce off their exoskeletons. But armor doesn't matter when a human targets joints and sensory organs with improvised striking tools. The short-term consequence. Human cadets now lead improvised combat courses. Other species study our techniques, like they're learning alien magic. The long-term consequence. Galactic military doctrine is fundamentally changing. War isn't just about superior technology anymore. It's about adaptation speed. Humans introduced a concept that didn't exist in galactic warfare: environmental advantage through improvisation. Every battlefield becomes a human armory. Every limitation becomes a puzzle humans solve faster than others can identify the problem. Here's the personal takeaway. You don't need to be strong, fast, or naturally armed to be dangerous. You need to think different. Process environment as opportunity. See problems as resource-rich challenges. That's not military advice. That's life advice. Humans succeed because we don't accept limitations. We weaponize them. Lost your job? Most species see failure. Humans see opportunity to pivot. New career paths. Skills to develop. Networks to build. Facing impossible obstacles. Most species see barriers. Humans see puzzles. Problems to solve. Resources to combine in new ways. That's why humanity survived Earth. That's why we're thriving in the Galactic Coalition. We don't have natural advantages. We create advantages from whatever's available. The Academy discovered something beautiful and terrifying about humans. We're not apex predators. We're apex adapters. Give us nothing, and we'll create something. Give us limitations, and we'll weaponize them. Other species respect strength. They understand natural advantages. They admire evolved capabilities. But they fear human improvisation. Because you can't defend against creativity. You can't armor against adaptation. You can't predict what humans will turn into weapons next. Maria Santos became the Academy's youngest improvised combat instructor. She teaches warriors from 47 star systems how to think like prey animals that refuse to stay prey. Her first lesson: your greatest weapon isn't what you're holding, it's what you're thinking. The Academy installed that quote above every training facility entrance. Translation software renders it in 62 languages. Every species reads it. Only humans truly understand it. Before we wrap up, there's one final thing you need to know. 6 months after Maria's demonstration, the Academy received a distress call. Pirates attacked a diplomatic vessel. The ship's security team was overwhelmed. All electronic weapons were disabled by EMP attack. The security team included 3 species: Crovar, then, and 1 human. When rescue forces arrived 4 hours later, they found the pirates subdued, not killed, carefully restrained and disarmed. The diplomatic crew was safe. The Crovar warrior had broken both arms fighting pirates hand to hand. The then hunter had exhausted themselves in combat. Both were unconscious when rescue arrived. The human, Cadet Jackson Lee, stood guard over 14 restrained pirates. No injuries. Completely calm. The rescue commander asked the obvious question: how? Jackson gestured around the cargo bay. I used what was there. The investigation revealed his improvisation. Cargo straps became binding restraints. Shipping containers became barriers. Pressure doors became traps. Emergency foam became slippery defensive perimeters. Jackson hadn't fought the pirates directly. He'd turned the environment into a weapon system. Then he'd let the pirates defeat themselves trying to navigate his trap network. Military analysts called it genius. Jackson called it Tuesday. Here's the final truth about humans. We didn't join the Galactic Coalition as warriors. We joined as problem solvers, who learned that every problem includes violence as a potential solution. That sounds dark, but it's honest. Humans survived by being comprehensively prepared. For peace, for war, for everything between. The Academy's motto changed after human admission. Previously, strength through unity. Simple, direct, traditional. The new motto: strength through adaptation. 3 words that completely reformed galactic military philosophy. Maria Santos stood at the motto unveiling ceremony. Reporters asked if she felt responsible for this change. Her answer became the Academy's unofficial second motto: I didn't change anything. I just showed them what humans consider normal. That's the difference. What other species call exceptional, humans call Tuesday. What the galaxy calls impossible improvisation, we call pattern recognition. We're not special because we're strong. We're special because we're creative survivors programmed by millions of years of refusing to die. The instructor said, improvise a weapon. Maria had 47 ready. Not because she's exceptional, because she's human. And that's the most terrifying advantage in the galaxy. If this opened your eyes, let's recap what you just discovered. First, human brains are evolutionarily programmed for improvisation. We automatically process weapon potential in every object we see. This isn't training, it's genetic survival code. Second, humans survive by adaptation, not strength. We turned evolutionary weakness into tactical advantage. Our prey animal past created threat assessment capabilities that exceed galactic military standards. Third, one training exercise changed 47 star systems' combat doctrine. What started as embarrassing human performance became revolutionary military philosophy. Environmental mastery through improvisation. Fourth, this capability isn't special to soldiers. Every human demonstrates automatic weapons recognition. We're all wired as survival machines, even in peaceful environments. This story reveals something deeper about human nature. We don't accept limitations. We weaponize them. Every problem contains resources. Every environment holds solutions. Every obstacle is temporary. That mindset built human civilization. We didn't have claws, so we created tools. Didn't have armor, so we created strategy. Didn't have natural weapons, so we turned nature itself into our weapon. Now we're teaching the galaxy what Earth's predators learned the hard way. Never underestimate prey that fights back, especially prey that thinks. If this story fascinated you, hit that subscribe button. This channel explores humanity's unique place in science fiction, how our weaknesses became strengths, how our fears became capabilities, how Earth's most vulnerable species became the galaxy's most adaptable problem solvers. Click the bell icon so you don't miss the next video. We're covering more HFY stories that showcase human ingenuity in impossible situations. Next up, how humans turned empathy into a tactical advantage that confused alien strategists. Spoiler: caring about others is apparently a superpower most species never developed. Drop a comment answering this question. If you entered that training room right now, what's the first weapon you'd identify? Be specific. Describe the object and how you'd use it. The most creative answer gets featured in next week's video. Like this video if you're proud that humans think different. Share it with friends who love science fiction or anyone who needs reminding that limitations are just puzzles we haven't solved yet. Want to go deeper into HFY content? Check out the playlist linked in the description. 30 videos exploring why humanity's survival traits make us fascinating to imagine in galactic settings. From persistence hunting to emotional complexity, to our bizarre relationship with pets, humans are weird, and that's our superpower. Follow the channel on social media for daily HFY content, short stories, character analysis, world-building breakdowns. The community there is incredible. Thousands of people who love exploring humanity's potential through science fiction. Remember what Maria taught the galaxy: your greatest weapon isn't what you're holding, it's what you're thinking. And if you're human, you're thinking about 47 weapons right now without even realizing it. That's not paranoia. That's pattern recognition. That's survival instinct. That's being human. Thanks for watching. Stay curious, stay adaptable, and remember, you're already armed. You just need to recognize what you're carrying. See you in the next video.